rainbow skipping by.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Grindbin. I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Mann.
Today we're going to be talking about 1974's Gator Bait.
Yeah, come on!
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky ain't got no field coach.
Hello, pizza man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby!
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl all hot and horny.
You could have looked decent once in a while. And maybe Daddy would have had to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creepy.
So Chris, Gator Bait.
Yeah.
Gotta say, no spoilers or anything, but huge fan of this movie.
Big fans, yes.
First time I've ever seen it, first time you've ever seen it.
Right.
And we are very impressed.
Yeah, I was blown away.
Yeah, if you're going to watch this one, watch it. You can still listen to this, obviously. It's not going to ruin anything, really. I mean,
No.
You kind of know where everything's going. There's a little bit of a twist there at the end. That's nice, but it doesn't ruin anything listening to this.
No, and unlike any other Crown films or a lot of other exploitation films, this kind of goes along the lines of it actually had a conflict in there too.
Yeah, full story in this
Yeah.
one, and it was fun. I'd compare it closer to a movie that we recorded a full episode for and never released, and maybe
Right.
will release one day, which
Yeah.
is Fight for Your Life, which is a great exploitation movie. Gator Bait's a lot of fun. It's a good one.
Yeah, the music, the characters, there's nothing about this film that's forgettable.
And the people who made it are very interesting.
Right.
Great couple, really, really interesting exploitation filmmakers, no longer making movies, but boy, they got a lot of great stories, and they seem like real genuine people, and man, they were just making these movies for next to nothing.
Yeah, it's really seemed to them, at least to me, a passion project, and they put just everything they had. As far as the story went, that was what mattered most. It wasn't about, you would think a movie called Gator Bait, oh, this is just going to be, a girl in, skimpy outfits, which it kind of is, but you think that's just all there is to be had. But this is just a fully fleshed out, good, I don't want to say revenge story, but just, how would you classify this? It's not a revenge story, is it?
I guess so, but I think in the vein of Kill Bill almost, actually, if
Yeah.
you think about it. But
Yeah.
I would say that Gator Bait did a great job of advertising itself as this sexy
Right.
movie, which, Claudia Jennings is running around. I mean, she's a Playboy Playmate of the Year or whatever it was for a couple years, believe a couple years before this.
Right.
And she'd been in a couple of movies, and she was obviously in movies mostly for her looks.
Right.
They did a good job of getting people in to go see Claudia Jennings, but then actually giving them a real movie around it.
Yeah, because you look at the poster or the trailer, you think, oh, this movie is just about a woman that's meant to be had. And that's
And it's not the case at all.
no,
so.
no, it's it could, dare I say, empowering in many ways to watch.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, she definitely takes care of business.
Yeah.
TCOB in this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Speaking of the trailer, Chris, why don't we take a listen here?
Deep in the swamps of Louisiana lives a Cajun wildcat, untamed and deadly as the swamps that spawned her, Desiree. Poaching gators or playing tag with the Louisiana law. Desiree roamed her land wild and free.
Hey, Desiree! Hello, we're in the name of the law. Thanks! Oh, I hate things.
Then she tangled with the powerful Bracken clan. They wanted her for gator bait and murder. Then, youngest son and favorite of TJ, his killing unleashed a bloodbath that flowed through the Louisiana swamp. Crazed with hate,
I can't wait to get my hands on that girl.
5 violent men on a chase to the death. They killed her kin. They burned her out. They made her a savage.
What the hell's she doing?
Get her out of here!
Here she comes down! She's gonna kill us! She's gonna kill me!
She stole their food. She demolished their boat. Before she was through, they were killing each other. Is she animal or woman? They hunted her. They fought her. She gave them revenge. Cajun style. Gator Bait. Coming to this theater soon. Rated R.
They really know how to sell that movie, though.
Oh, hell yeah. See, this is the great part about this couple. They knew exactly what movie they were going to make.
Yeah.
And then found a way to basically get people to go see it.
Yeah.
So they have this great revenge story just wrapped within this movie where you think you're going to go see... just go see a little titillation, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
Tits McGee in the Cajun Swamps.
Yeah, but not the case
Oh,
at
no.
all. So I got a little more trivia about this. And
Oh.
also, Chris and I just viewed... I own the DVD for Gator Bait, which I highly recommend getting because there's some great special features on it with actual interviews with the creators of this movie, which we'll get into a little bit here before we get into the movie. A little bit of trivia, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
The role of Desiree, as we heard in the special features, you can hear it as well.
Yep.
They interviewed the directors, which are Ferd Sebastian and Beverly Sebastian. Beverly wrote this movie, so this movie is actually written by a woman.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking, but again, empowering.
Yeah, with the content that's in it, it's really interesting that it was written by a woman, but Desiree definitely gets hers. So the role of Desiree, though, specifically written for Claudia Jennings. And we'll get into who Claudia Jennings was and why she was such a fixture in the exploitation scene for a little bit there. And it's a really good get for them because at the time that they got her for this movie, she had been in quite a few things before it, and her career was kind of starting to take off. And she ended up being in a movie directed by David Cronenberg, actually, which we're going to get into.
Awesome. You know what movie that was?
Yes, I do. We'll get into it
All
when we talk
right.
about Claudia.
All right.
The movie itself shot in only 10 days.
No.
Yeah, an incredible feat.
Oh, my God.
It's just basically one location. So
Yeah.
they shot in this swamp, which they said it was what, on the border of Texas, and it was off the border of Texas in some swamps. I believe they were on the Texas side. It's supposed to take place in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I think maybe they did say it was in Louisiana. Like
Or
right
they-
on the border between the two states.
Yeah, or that was where they got the inspiration from it, though, and then
Yeah.
they filmed it in Texas.
The bulk of this movie was shot on a handheld camera, which we actually saw. The whole movie was filmed on a handheld camera.
Insane. And the rig this guy had for it is just...
The director himself was the cinematographer.
Yeah.
He just had this handheld 35mm camera that he would just, he had it just strapped on his shoulder. And he said, like, their version of a Steadicam was like he would just have two guys hanging off the camera, just weighing it down so it wouldn't bounce around in the boats or anything like that. And he was just waiting in the water, getting all the shots. You couldn't tell. I mean, the camera work is very good for this type of movie.
Oh, it's excellent. I thought there was like an actual production crew for this. No, it's just him and his wife.
Yeah.
And like a couple other people.
Yeah,
I mean,
said-
did they I would say they went as far as just use natural lighting for everything. If maybe some
I
reflectors,
think so.
maybe.
Yeah, because oh boy, to get things out there would there's no way they
no
could
way
have
in
gotten
hell they
power out there.
could have done it.
Because they said the biggest obstacle to making the movie was not any sort of conditions in the swamp or anything. They said it was SAG.
Yeah.
Because SAG was like requiring them to have bathrooms on set, and they're
Yeah.
like, no, we're in the swamp, so we got trees.
Look around you. This is a bathroom. Shit,
it's
as
the
far as the eye can see.
It's the 70s. Go where you please, And they said basically that the actors were willing to waive it, so SAG said, fine, it's okay. So the cast and the crew, they also said they found an out-of-business motel that they were able to secure, I don't even know, legally or illegally.
I'm going to guess they were squatting. They just said secure for legal purposes on the DVD, but I'm sure they squatted.
And they said something like it was like where people would, there was some sort of weird like swamp airport out there that
Yeah.
people would land their planes and then stay in this motel that was there,
Yeah.
but basically nobody was there anymore and the runway wasn't being used.
Yeah.
So they basically had all the actors stay in this shit motel with like barely any lights or anything. And they said that they even had to keep the snakes and the alligator. They kept alligators in pools, so they didn't use real, like, wild alligators. I mean,
Right.
they're still obviously wild.
Oh, yeah.
But they kept them in pools, and then they kept all the snakes in the hotel.
In a bag.
Yeah, they have a great story of apparently, like, one of the actresses went to go take a shower, and she went in the room with all the snakes, and they, couple of snakes popped out, Chris, and not a trouser snake, but a real snake. So we'll get into the crew a little bit more about the directors, Ferd Sebastian and Beverly Sebastian. Beverly also wrote the movie. A married couple that produced and directed tons of exploitation movies. 1972, The Hitchhikers. 1974, The Single Girls. 1975, Flash and the Firecat. 1979, Delta Fox. 1988, Gator Bait 2, Cajun Justice. And 1993, Running Cool. Now, this is interesting. It's kind of a sad note on their careers. At one point, Ferd Sebastian's career was kind of taking off, and he was actually doing he had just done 2 movies for Paramount.
Yeah.
And he was about to do another movie, and like he was going to set, and he had a massive heart attack.
Oh my God.
And basically, he had to go to the hospital and get triple bypass surgery. And he said, basically, it was, that or he's dead.
Yeah.
And he survived it. And so afterwards, he became a born-again Christian minister. And now he's an ordained minister, and he doesn't make exploitation movies anymore. He doesn't, view these as bad movies anymore. But he basically said, if I'm alive, it must be because of Jesus. So, more power to him. He can...
Take it for what it is.
I've never been there, so I can't,
Yeah.
I can't explain it. I am not a religious man, obviously, by doing this podcast. I'm not a religious person. But you know what? If I went through triple bypass surgery and had a massive heart attack, maybe. Who knows? I don't know what my thinking would be at that moment. So here we get in the cast, Chris. Claudia Jennings, we've talked a little bit about her already. Desiree. I'm going to read you a little bit of her IMDb mini-biography by Ari Bass. She appeared as a Playmate in November 1969 and later as 1970 Playmate of the Year. She renamed herself Claudia Jennings to avoid family embarrassment due to posing in the nude. She became the most popular Playmate in the 1970s, as well as the star of drive-in movies such as The Unholy Rollers in 1972 and Gator Bait in 1974. Unfortunately, Claudia passed away at the age of 29 in 1979 in a car accident in Malibu, California. So Claudia had a bunch of issues, I guess, with alcohol and drugs. That is apparently not what caused the car accident, but she did get in a fatal car accident.
Oh, wow.
So she was taken from us at only the age of 29 in 1979. But she was definitely destined to do more. As you can see, I'm going to go through her biography here, her filmography, and it was kind of sad because the last thing she made, she was really getting up there to maybe she was going to start to be in a little bit more mainstream movies. 1972, she was in The Stepmother, which is directed by Grindbin all-star Howard Avedis from The Teacher. We will be covering that movie one day. I love that movie. And also, same year, 1972, another movie we're going to be covering one day, which is The Unholy Rollers. I love that movie.
One's on the list, yeah.
That is a roller derby movie where Claudia Jennings just basically, I don't know how to explain it other than she's like a massive bitch and she kind of just beats up everybody. Like men, women, it doesn't matter. She's just a jerk. It's great.
Well, and then she's a perfect fit for roller derby. That's what you need.
Yeah,
you
well,
know? I mean...
1974, The Single Girls, which is, okay, I wrote down... I like this one, so I wrote down the synopsis of this one, Chris. A group of men and women travel to a Caribbean resort to discover themselves sexually, but unfortunately, one of them has also discovered that they like to murder people, too.
When does that revelation happen? At what point are you down there figuring out how things work, what you like, what you don't like, and you go, you know what? I'm just going to kill someone.
It's like an island of taboos. They're like, oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. Oh, I like that. 1974, Truck Stop Women. 1976, The Great Texas Dynamite Chase. 1978, Death Sport. And 1979, the last movie Claudia was in is called Fast Company, which was directed by David Cronenberg. It was one of his earlier movies. Claudia was she was in a lot of stuff, man. Ever since 1972, she was killing it. So it's a sad story, but she died shortly after making that movie.
Such a shame.
So here we get into the other cast. Sam Gilman, who played T.J. Bracken. And I just want to say that every performance in this movie is great.
It's fantastic. Everyone's giving it their all.
Oh, it's nobody's like going too overboard because the movie itself is crazy.
Yes.
But everybody's just, they seem like they were having a hell of a time making it, giving it their all.
Especially when you're in that setting, in that environment, and in those costumes and those lines of dialogue. I would go overboard. These guys are very well restrained. They're very well trained.
10 days in the fucking swamp. I don't know how they did it. I really don't. I mean, we've been on sets for 2 days and been like, fuck this. That's how it works out. I can't imagine being in the fucking swamp.
In a swamp.
With basically the whole crew being like the director, his wife, and then the co-directors, right?
Yeah.
He's doing the camera himself, and then like 2 grips. I can't fucking imagine.
And staying in that squad of a hotel.
Oh god.
Probably no air conditioning, I'm willing to bet. Or they had like 1 light bulb per room. So
yeah. So Sam Gilman, character actor, known for roles in westerns, TV, a bunch of TV roles, and B movies. He did lots and lots of TV, over 80 credits on IMDb. 1970, Sometimes a Great Notion, which was directed and starred Paul Newman. 1971, Wild Rovers. 1972, The Final Come Down, which stars Billy D. Williams.
Oh, really?
So that movie sounds crazy, by the way. It's apparently about a bunch of black revolutionaries that like decide to go into the white suburbs and kind of take care of business. I'm like, what? I've never heard of that movie. And I was like, well, I'm going to put this on the list of ones to check out.
It's an alt-right classic.
1976, The Missouri Breaks, which starred Marlon Brando. So TJ had been in quite a few things. Now we get into another person, Chris. Billy Boy, which was played by Clyde Ventura. Here's a little bit from his IMDb bio by Jim Beaver. Ventura served as an artistic director of the Theater West in Los Angeles, and for the last few years of his life as the principal teacher at the Actors Studio's West Coast Workshop. He died in 1990 from the sudden onslaught of complications from AIDS at the age of 50. So unfortunately, he died young. He only has 19 acting credits, but as you can see, he went on to work in the theater department here, the Theater West in Los Angeles, as well as the Actors Studio. His 19 credits, mostly low-budget and grindhouse films with some TV. 1972, Bury Me an Angel. 1973, Terminal Island, which looks great.
Sounds great.
It's a movie about a bunch of prisoners, I guess men and women that are sent to an island.
Australia?
Yeah. That's it. They're sent to Australia.
That's the big twist at the end of it. It's a historical piece.
There's really nothing special about it. They're just sent to Australia to live. So that's the whole movie. It's a real slow burner.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like watching Shutter Island.
1974, Black Eye. 1976, Obsession. And his last movie was 1980, Serial. Bill Thurman, who plays Sheriff Joe Bob Thomas. He's a character actor in lots of things.
So good.
54 credits total. Now, some of these movies and some of these directors is like, holy shit. 1971, he was in The Last Picture Show with Jeff Bridges and Sybil Shepherd, which is directed by Peter Bogdanovich. It is a great movie. If you haven't seen Last Picture Show, it's not a Grindhouse movie at all, but it's a very good movie. 1974, he was in The Sugarland Express, and that was directed by Steven Spielberg. That's not the last time you're going to hear Spielberg's name in this credits here. 1974, Where the Red Fern Grows. 1976, he was in Slumber Party 57. Now, I wrote down the synopsis of this one, Chris, because I like this one. 6 schoolgirls find themselves without their parents. Moreover, their basketball team are traveling. As they are at a loss of what to do, they organize a slumber party, during which each of them will tell about their first experience of sex. Sounds like a real cheerleaders type movie. I guess what we're saying is that, like, high school girls in 1957, they're cheerleaders, their parents are gone, the basketball team's gone. What to do?
Truth or dare.
Girls will be girls.
Yeah.
1977, he was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, so I told you another Spielberg one.
Yeah.
He played an air traffic controller in that movie. In 1985, he was in Silverado. So that's all I have for the cast and the crew. Very, very diverse group of actors in this movie, but all of them accomplished in their own right. They were definitely all in like exploitation-y movies and TV and stuff, but real interesting stuff.
Yeah, and the UK title for this movie was actually called Swamp Bait.
Swamp Bait?
Yeah.
Why? Why not Gator Bait?
I don't know. I don't know why everything's
Although
changed.
Swamp Bait, I guess, kind of makes more sense. Gator Bait, there's only 2 gators in this whole movie. So.
Yeah. I guess so.
They could have called it snake bait, it would have made more sense.
Mr. No Gator.
Well, I'm not going to get into it too much, but I wish they would have called it
Mr. Gator Legs.
Mr. Gator Legs. Yeah, sure. So we get into the movie, Chris. We open on a swamp, Louisiana, which has this great music to it.
Oh
Now,
my God.
we don't know if this is a song before this movie or if it's a song specific to this movie, but it keeps saying Desiree in it. It's playing underneath us right now. Absolutely love this song.
Yeah.
Really sets the scene great.
Every fucking wash tub and milk jug man I've ever had to play with, this is how it's fucking done. All right, take fucking note.
Yeah, can
This
they
is how
cover
you do
this?
it.
Nobody would know if they covered this song.
No.
Get it going.
Yeah, come on. Watch some Gator Bait. This is how it's done, okay?
So we see Desiree, right? And she's riding around in her boat. So Desiree's like going around the swamp. She apparently lives off this swamp, right?
Yeah.
But I got real problems with that, as we'll get into it later. And I'd just like to say now, we do really like this movie,
Oh, I
but
love
obviously the point of Grindbin is to go through and have fun with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tear the shit out of this movie, just so you know.
Oh, I know. I'm ready. I'm ready.
No, there are, look, it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
But the amount of errors in this movie,
Yeah, I saw a couple.
I mean, staggering. I mean, I got a lot of issues with it, but, what are you going to do? It's our job to point them out and have fun.
Yeah, I mean, if Bev and Ferd, please call in.
Yeah, oh, God, I would love to interview
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah.
So Desiree, she's riding around in her boat, and I guess she lives off the swamp, Chris, right? So
Off
what
the
we
fat of
see-
the land, yes.
Yeah, the fat of the land, So we see she's, like, going around catching snakes and shit, and she's apparently hunting gators, which I guess we'll find out is illegal at this point in time. There's a whole TV show now dedicated to people catching and hunting alligators, which I guess what you couldn't do in 1974, or
guess
like
not.
I don't know what the deal is.
What's it called? Cajun Boys or something? On
I
Discovery.
believe it's called Swamp People.
Oh, probably, yeah.
They could have called this movie Swamp People. So Desiree's riding on her boat, and we see these guys, these two boys here, Billy Boy and Ben.
Here come the boys.
Here come the boys. They're eating Cracker Jacks, waiting for her, right? So they keep talking about. They're like, "Yeah, I've seen this girl. She's around here. There's a girl in a potato sack who rides around."
How long do you think they were staking her out? Is this like a daily thing for
God.
her?
Well, as we're gonna find out, time, locations, everything, it's all up in the air in this movie.
It kind of is. Yeah.
It's amazing how little that is paid attention to. Like, we'll get. I have so many problems with the geography of this movie and the choices that people make on why they stay in certain places.
Yeah.
I can't.
It is almost like it's a Western in like the 1800s, and you can just like sleep where you want. But
Yeah,
we'll get into that later.
It's either that or these people. Like, I'll get into it. Yeah, it's like it's either the choices are just baffling, like production wise,
Yeah.
like it didn't make sense to me, or the characters are all fucking idiots, which is more than likely what the case is.
Nothing against the Cajun people, but this is just not doing a good service to logic.
So they've been waiting all day for Desiree to show up, and they're just hoping she'll go down this particular area of the swamp, I guess.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we see her really, and I notice she's very, very underdressed. So Desiree
Well,
has...
it's hot. It's humid.
Okay, Chris. Come on.
I know.
All right, we're in the swamp, all right? How many fucking diseases and insects and animals and all sorts of things.
When you grow up swamp, you live swamp. I'm sure she's immune,
Okay, but Desiree walks around like a cave woman. In that trailer, it does say, like, is she human or animal? And I think maybe animal.
Yeah. She kind of lumbers around. It's kind of almost like she's rabbit almost.
Like, did you ever see that movie Nell? Where... It was like, I believe it was Jodie Foster, and she was like some sort of wild girl that lived in the forest, and she like had her own wild language, and she was like, "Ah, la, la," and all this stuff. That's like Gator Bait. Like, basically, Desiree drives around in this boat. Where she got the boat and the gas, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But she's only wearing she has two outfits in this whole movie. One is literally just a potato sack with a string around it. Like, she just slid it down the middle and was like, well, this could make a shirt and pants. And all I need is a little bit of rope.
Yeah.
Tie this outfit together.
It's utility, Mike. It's utility.
It's swamp chic is what it is. It's very nice. And then her other outfit is just a pair of denim, which actually covers less than the potato sack.
Because you would think like you'd see some kind of tan lines on her from that sack when she wears less clothes.
So she literally wears nothing.
Yeah.
So she's a ginger lady.
Yeah.
Very fair skin.
Yeah.
That runs around the swamp with no clothing on. By the way, no dirt on
Oh,
her
I was
at
gonna
all.
say her skin is impeccable.
Yeah,
There's
she
no
is very
smudges.
well kept. By the way, I'll get to it later. Not only is she very clean, which doesn't make any sense for what she's doing.
The hair is
but she's
perfectly-
also very well manicured.
Thank you. I was going to notice that. Yeah, the hair is really well done. The hands, the nails.
Not just the hair. We'll get into it, though,
Oh,
because
okay.
at some point I break down and I start to get really bothered by the whole thing. So we see her, the first thing we see is her catching what I thought was a fake snake out of the river, but now that I've seen the DVD, I don't think that it was fake. She just kind of like grabs this snake out of the water by its throat and just kind of like wiggles it around.
Yeah.
And throws it in a bag, right?
Yeah.
And I put without killing it. So I don't know what the plan is with the snake.
Pet store.
I guess so. Yeah.
Cajun pet store.
Somehow she gets money, and we'll get into this because
Yeah.
somehow she has money for something. So these guys, they find her and they're like, oh yeah, here we go. So they're waiting for her. I guess they were waiting for her at this location because she's going to poach a gator, right?
Yeah.
So there's this string tied to a tree, and maybe that's why they're waiting here, that a gator is on, and she pulls up and she is going to catch this gator, right?
Right.
But before she pulls up, they're talking about her. So the cop and Billy Boy, he's a deputy, right? Deputy Billy Boy.
Yep, I love
and
that.
Ben. And they're talking about how they're either going to give her an ultimatum. So it's like, well, we're going to catch her in the act, and like she's either going to have to go to jail or have sex with us. So she'll have to decide.
Do you want it to burn now or later?
And an hour later. And so Ben says to the Billy Boy, he goes like, well, hey, I don't know about that. My brother tried to rape her and she cut his balls off. We will revisit that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
There's a man walking around in this movie that has no balls. So he's singing soprano, this guy. So Desiree comes up. She catches that alligator, right?
Yeah.
Basically, they're like, got her red-handed. And they're like, hey, we got you. And then she just kind of she drives off in her boat. And we get in this long boat chase. Filmed very well, by the way. It actually is nice action. They seem like they're going really fast in this part.
Yeah, because a lot of films, they obviously they don't go as fast for safety reasons, but obviously nothing here was sped up.
No.
They seem to be going full
It was
speed.
very good, though.
Yeah.
And I like this. So they're chasing her, right?
Yeah.
And Billy Boy's like, hey, Desiree. He goes, Desiree, pull over in the name of the law and drop your britches. So obviously the choice is no longer a choice. And they trap her at a dead end. And then she throws the bag of live snakes. So I guess it's a good thing she didn't kill them.
Yeah.
She just throws this bag of live snakes into their boat. And the snakes just start getting out at Billy Boy and Ben.
And he just freaks the fuck out. He's like, oh, ah!
Well, they're like biting his boot.
Yeah.
Like they're literally biting his boot.
Yeah.
Digging in the fucking fangs and everything. And he pulls out his gun like the real smart man that Billy Boy is. And Chris?
Well, he starts firing all over the place, and the son jumps into the water. Well, falls in the water.
Yeah, Ben runs away.
Ben runs away. And as he's trying to get back in, I guess Billy Boy inadvertently shoots him while shooting one of these snakes.
Right through the head.
Yeah, right in the the noggin shot. Beautifully.
It's old lights out, good night, Ben.
Yeah, and now
that's a wrap.
He's basically left to the mercy of the swamp, is this body.
It's swamp rules out here, Chris.
Yeah, swamp rules.
That's what we learned. There's a lot of swamp rules in this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this is where I got the first problem with geography in this movie, right?
Right.
So he was also apparently shooting the boat. Mm-hmm. The next scene we see is Billy Boy just screaming. He's like, ah! And then we cut to him still screaming, ah! And he's running on a street now, a public street. Apparently the police station.
Yeah.
Which actually just looks like an abandoned building that they pretended was a police station. Desolate town, by the way. There's nobody on the streets or anything, right? So my question is, okay, well, he runs up to his dad, who's the sheriff, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Desiree shot that guy Ben, and also she sunk your boat. And all right, whoa, hold on. How did he get back?
That's peculiar.
Because it's like the boat just sank right there, and he just goes, ah, and then ran the whole way, like from the swamp to town. And how long did it take, Chris?
Again, passage of time, we don't know.
Okay, because we'll bring this up again.
Okay.
I got a lot of problems with the geography of this.
Yeah.
So apparently it's not that hard because he didn't have a bead of sweat on him.
No, not at all.
He's apparently run all the way back screaming the whole time. And now he's back and he's like, oh, hey, yeah, we should go get Desiree because she killed this guy. Also, she sunk your boat. And the dad's like, wait, what the fuck? She sunk my boat?
That's
like,
what he's more
what was
upset
that
about.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what was that about?
He's like, God damn it!
So he's like, oh, boy, this is going to be real uncomfortable because we got to go tell his dad. And, oh, boy. This is when we get introduced to the Bracken household, which is an upstanding household in this neighborhood. Wow.
Bastions of morality, they are.
Oh, boy, are we starting strong. I mean, the incest in this movie starts in, like, minute 5.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
2 boys. Now, I don't know their names, okay? But in order to name them, you're going to see what I call them, Chris, and I think it's appropriate names considering the circumstances. So these 2 boys, right? One of them we will call No Balls because he has no balls. And the other one will be called 2 Balls because I'm assuming he has both.
Yeah.
If he had one, I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll just give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's got the old God-given 2. And so they're watching, I guess, their sister hang up clothes, which is when we find out that any woman who's in this movie has no clothes. If you're a woman in the swamp, unfortunately, they only make clothes that fit men at the local store.
Yeah.
And the women, they're like, well, you just got to wear 90s.
Or there's a kids section.
So apparently there's like a Victoria's Secret or something. You can get like a satin 90. And that's about it.
Yeah.
That or the potato sack
Sack
or you could
section,
go Desiree style and just take maybe men's clothes and cut them to be more revealing, I guess.
Yeah, I think they do like the Osh Bagosh kid size aisle, and that's just it for women.
Yeah, maybe Desiree was wearing kids' clothes for her next one.
I did all the way through high school.
Kids' clothes? Oshkosh Bagosh?
No.
You were the only
No.
kid who's a senior in high school wearing Oshkosh,
No.
wearing overalls and shit, Chris?
I know. I meant to say that shirts weren't the most fitting for me because of my small frame. So like an extra large kid's shirt from like Walmart would be suitable at the time, but that just since changed, thankfully. But it was cheaper. and I'll give this, kids' shirts had cooler designs and graphics and logos.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that what you convinced yourself?
That and the thigh-high shorts.
No wonder a man tried to abduct you in a parking lot.
That was easy candy.
So No Balls and 2 Balls are watching their sister hang up these clothes, right?
Yeah.
And she looks like she doesn't have a thought in her head. She's just like, hey, I'm hanging up these clothes. And one of the boys, I swear to God that 2 Balls breaks the fourth wall almost. He's like, eh? Like he kind of winks at the audience like, you know what I'm going to do, right? So then he tries. Now there's a lot of like attempted rapes in this movie, but nobody actually gets it in, thank God.
Oh, yeah.
But he attempts to rape her, right? To slow country music,
Yeah.
which it sounds like you're at the Country Bear Jamboree. Like the show has started, everybody take a seat. Here's the first act. We're going to watch a boy try to rape his sister.
Yeah. I'm going to get on the back end and stick it in.
Slow down. This is like while you're still sitting down, you know?
No, it's the overture. You got to start strong.
So then some guy, TJ, comes up, right?
Yeah.
And he starts whipping him. And he's like, I had to kill you, you horny bastard. That's your sister. And I love how he says that because it's like, well, obviously he was saying that to the audience. But it's like, did his son forget? Because I wouldn't be surprised. Like, these guys, I say the characters in this movie, Chris, we'll go, not the smartest tools in the shed, that's for sure.
I felt
Not the
like,
sharpest tools in the shed.
if you took one of them and shook them by the shoulders, in your head you would hear like a marble bouncing around, like against like.
Definitely. So TJ keeps whipping him around the yard, right? And then we see No Balls. And so No Balls is like sitting on the porch and he's got like some sort of animal in his lap, but also a knife. And from what I can tell, he's like digging meat out of an animal with its fur still on and like eating it. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing?
I think this was a character choice. I don't think the actor knew what to do exactly. He was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with it. Whatever I think this feels right. It's like, it's already, there's nothing left there of this animal.
This really sets the scene. Like, these people are real. I mean, my God. Like, this is like you've stumbled upon the Texas Chainsaw
thank you.
Massacre
I was
house.
going to say,
These people are terrifying.
Yeah. Like, I just would have loved to hear a chainsaw rev in the background. There's maybe somewhere.
They are terrifying in their stupidity. And you're right. Yeah, their neighbors could definitely be, like, across that border, you could find those Texas Chainsaw people. Like, they're really good friends. They have dinner parties with Leatherface's family,
Yeah, like the antler chandelier.
They all get together. They trade sisters.
And shackles.
The antler chandelier. What do you think they gave him for Christmas, Chris? That was a present from the Brackens. I always thought it was weird that there was that hippie guy in the Chainsaw family. Like, what was the story on that?
I don't know.
Like, what, one of them went off to college? They're like, it's the fucking college boy. Here he comes with his hippiness. He just comes back to the Chainsaw family. He's like, I've seen the world, man. And they're like, yeah, can you go round us up some hitchhikers? We're hungry. Go see if the Brackens want any leftovers. So then we see the sheriff and Billy Boy show up, and they're here to break the news, right, Chris? And the sheriff, he tells TJ, he's like, hey, we gotta go find Desiree. And he's like, oh, why? We should probably leave that swamp lady alone. She did cut off my son's balls, Like, that's not a joke. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, by the way, your son Ben... there comes a time in every man's life when we have to close the curtains on life, And unfortunately, a bullet met his head, and it's, he's dead.
Yeah, non-existence is this new existence.
And I love TJ's reaction, so he just, like, looks up to this guy, and he's like, damn!
Yeah, I love that.
And I'm just wondering, like, in reality, how many sons has this guy lost? I mean, first, he's got one without balls. He's got another one trying to rape his sister. He's got another one who just got shot in the head. I mean, I'm thinking that he had a real big family at some point.
Yeah, because his reaction is like, "Oh, here we go again, not again." God damn it! It's like his reaction is like the cat shit the rug.
Yeah, it's almost like, God damn it! Who's gonna cut the fucking wood?
Yeah.
God damn it! You mean I gotta go find another woman and wait another 18 years to have another fucking capable son? God damn it! And so then TJ and the boys, they're like, all right, well, now we got to go find Desiree. And so then we go to the bayou, right? And so now TJ and the boys are rolling around with the sheriff and Billy Boy, and they're all looking for Desiree, right?
Right.
But then the first thing is they find Ben. And so then TJ sees that he was shot, and he flips out, and he's like crying and grabbing him. And he's really upset at this point. And so then we see Desiree, right? So this is the first time we see her come home.
Oh, yeah.
So Desiree lives in some sort of shack, which just looks like it was made out of Lincoln logs or something, right?
It looks like that Tom Sawyer's Island at Disneyland.
It really does. It does. The people who designed the Swiss Family Robinson house designed, like, this is like their affordable model, It just looks like the same type of thing, like some sort of weird shack, but it's too perfect.
This is the Trax shack housing.
Yeah. You order this from the catalog.
Yeah.
Or the store in town. You get one of the log houses delivered. It's from Sears. You can order it out of the catalog.
No, this is fucking Sky Mall material right here.
And so we see her little brother and her sister, and they have a bunch of kittens, which we'll never revisit. But they got like a bunch of kittens in their arms, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Desiree, it's great to see you. We found some dinner, I guess."
Oh no.
Well, Chris, we'll never see these kittens again, and the only other thing we'll see the sister do is cook. So,
and she's skinning an animal later. So,
oh my god.
Well, I think it was a squirrel. Hopefully, it was
Let's
a squirrel,
hope.
not a kitten.
So Desiree, she comes up and this is like the first time. So Claudia Jennings tries to put on her best Cajun accent, and she does an admirable job.
Yeah.
Because all of her lines are in like real broken English Cajun.
Because she doesn't have many lines either.
No, and she always says like "you be," like "there you be." She tries. She does a good job. I mean, for 10 days, and like she apparently just came off the set of another movie.
Yeah.
In the middle of the production, so she walks off one set. She's like, "What am I doing in this movie? Oh Lord, that's my outfit." Yeah. She's like, "Well, at least it's more than I wore in Playboy." So, what about the bug situation? We got raid. We got some off spray around here.
They probably clouded her in all kinds of
Oh, I hope they had her wrapped up in like blankets before they shot, and they're like, "All right, Desiree, come on out," because those legs would be eaten alive.
That's probably every night for her, was like swatting stuff away, putting its cream on it, but she seemed pretty taken care of.
She had to have some sort of fluffer full time because, like you said, not a spot of dirt on
No.
her. Oh, by the way, she has no shoes. She walks around the swamp this whole movie in bare feet. So I'll give it to Claudia Jennings, man. I mean, I hope she got paid well. So TJ and the boys, they still off trying to find Desiree, right? And then we see Desiree and her brother like catching an armadillo, and they just kind of pick it up and laugh and then put it back. And I wrote, I wonder if anybody got leprosy. And then TJ and the boys, okay, so here we go. They just kind of boat around for a while, right?
Yeah.
And we just cut between them looking for Desiree and then like Desiree and her brother hanging out, and they're like riding on a boat and playing grab ass in the swamp and like looking at bugs and stuff, while TJ and the boys and the cops are just kind of looking around. And I wrote, do they not know where she lives?
Guess not.
I'm like, what are they, just looking at the sites, you know? Just checking it out?
They should have had the thing where they had like trackers to track her down. They should have.
But they probably know where she lives,
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I mean, the cop was able to catch her real quick in the beginning.
Right, I guess so.
But we'll find out that the one cop does know where she lives because he's had multiple encounters with her in the past.
Yes.
So it makes no sense. But then we go back to TJ and the cops, and okay, now this is where I got another problem. They're like stopped for the day, and they're like, all right, well, we're going to spend the night in this tree. Like in the a middle of the swamp, right? So they don't go to the shore. They're just like, oh, here's this tree with some wood on it. We'll just sleep here for the night. And I write, whoa. How far are they away from town? Because in the beginning, that guy was able
ran
to
all
just
the way
run
back.
to town.
Yeah.
I'm like, so wait, they're just going to spend the night?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Go home. Try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
We're going to smoke her out.
And they're like, I'm too tired. Let's just sleep in this tree.
It's dangerous to go when it's dark.
Then we go and we see Desiree goes out in the swamp to find some gators. And I write, well, hold on. Is this the next day? Because at this point, I'm not sure. And then we do find out, I guess it is the next day. And she has changed her outfit to the only other outfit she's going to wear in this movie, which is these like tiny little denim shorts and like a tiny little denim jacket.
And that's it.
That's it. Yeah. No bra, no undershirt, nothing. I mean, she might as well just be wearing underwear.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand for the whole,
appeal
sex aspect of the thing. But for practicality's sake.
It doesn't really support anything.
This girl's going to get eaten the fuck alive,
Yeah.
man.
Because practically what if she wore overalls, long sleeve shirts, and a big floppy hat?
Yeah, even though it's hot in the swamp, you're not going to want to expose a lot of skin.
Yeah.
Just maybe for safety's sake. Especially if you're out catching snakes for the day. Maybe cover yourself up instead of like letting your legs fly out there just so they could take a little chomp, So then we go to TJ and the boys, right? And so one of the boys goes off to, quote, take a crap. And this is when something happens in this movie.
Yeah.
And so he sees Desiree's sister. And I didn't mention the girl who starred as Desiree's sister, but thank God, Chris, she was of age when they made this movie because she looked very young. And then we see her like going and bathing in the swamp, which I wrote also, why would you bathe in the swamp? Are you just going to get more dirty?
Yeah, I didn't get the logic of that either.
Like she goes in the swamp to get clean. I'm like, oh no, girl. Like
I would have liked it better if before that it shows her taking a shit in the swamp, and then she jumps in and starts cleaning herself off with it. Like, I would have been surprised if that was the logic they had in mind for her.
Yeah, but I'm certainly not going to get you clean. Right?
No.
Because she looks clean already.
Yeah.
And she gets naked, she goes in the swamp, and then the two balls finds her.
Yeah, because I can tell you firsthand, we had a Boy Scout outing in '97 called the Jamboree, and this giant lake in Virginia that the boys would use it as an excuse, like, oh, look, see, we showered. Like, we bathed. Like, no, this water's brown, okay? There's no way.
Like, no, you just came back to the camp more dirty than you were before,
like,
kid.
the scoutmaster is like, you're because the nearest shower was 3 miles away of where we were at. So you had to hike all that way with all your toiletries. And when you got in there, I took, for the week I was there, I took one shower. the whole time. This was the summer, and you're 13, you don't care. You're with your friends,
Yeah.
you're getting dirty and sweaty. But when I took that one shower, it was like I was coming out of a coal mine, looking down at my feet.
You remember when we were in 6th grade?
6th grade camp.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that guy took a shit in the shower.
How can I forget? It was like
So Chris and I have known each other for a long time. I mean, a long time.
Yeah.
Like since what, 1st grade, basically?
Yeah, it was 1st or 2nd grade. Yeah.
And when we were in 6th grade, we went to some camp in like the wilderness, right? And the word around the camp was one morning that some guy took a shit in the shower. And we just saw the camp counselor's face as he walked out of the bathroom, and he was just shaking his head like, God damn it. It was awesome. It was a very weird time. When Chris and I were at 6th grade camp, a man shit in the shower, and it was the week of the OJ trial.
The OJ trial, yeah.
That they were coming up with the verdict. And like everybody was wondering, all the kids are like, hey, is he innocent or guilty? And then we found out he was innocent.
Yeah.
And that was that's the only reason I remember that trip, really. That and the shit in the shower.
Yeah. And the terrible food.
Oh, God, was it bad, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just got it from the shower. So. That was a protest shit. One guy, he was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck this camp. He was so mad about that verdict. He took the verdict, the food, the activities, shit in the shower. Show your protest.
He was hoping to be joined for like a shower shit vigil. Like we would all be in a circle back to back above the drain, hovering and just like squeezing.
At 12 years old, there's only so many ways you can protest. And the only way he could think of was to shit in that shower. Which, by the way, the toilets were right next to the shower. Why he didn't just walk out and take a shit, who knows?
From what I remember, the toilets were fine.
Yeah.
Oh, how long were we there?
This is exactly what the counselor was saying. Like,
yeah.
You couldn't have... Like, is this what you do at home? You just shit in the shower? What, do you think it's going to go down the drain or something?
Maybe.
Fuck you, I got to clean it up, you son of a bitch.
How long? Was that a week we were there for or a weekend? I don't remember.
I think we were there for a week.
Oh, God.
Yeah, shit in the shower. That was like day 2, It was a real...
He couldn't keep it.
It was a real shocker. Like, the counselors looked like they had not seen that ever. Like, that was a real conundrum over there.
I wonder how long he'd been plotting that, too. Like, wait till the dead of night. Tiptoe out.
Obviously, well, it was first thing in the morning, which made everybody more pissed off because they were like, "Are you serious, man? 6 a.m. and you're shitting in the shower?" Like,
and weird enough, I don't remember showering at 6th grade camp.
Do you think that was his way of like, maybe I'll get to go home? Well, all I can think of is if this place fucking sucks, maybe if I shit in here, they'll think I'm crazy and I could go home.
I remember I purposely tried to get sent home from Boy Scouts, the camp where we were.
So you were shitting in the showers?
No, I was running up behind people going, ah! Like really loud when they were like doing stuff. I wanted them to send me away because they thought it was crazy.
And they're just writing it down. They're like, he'll never get a merit badge.
Then I realized, you know what? I could have made this way easier on myself and just said I was gay. Or atheist.
You should have just went up and grabbed a kid's ass and said, I don't believe in God.
Yeah, double whammy. Double whammy. Well, with my luck, they probably would have tried to like exercise me.
Yeah, they would have been like, oh, that's perfect. We got the anti-gay badge where you can go through conversion therapy. What do you think conversion therapy actually is? Do you think they just show you a picture of a woman and they go, you like this? And then they quickly show you a picture of a man and they go, no.
Knowing them.
How could that possibly work?
In 1997, probably. In the camp, yeah.
Honestly, what the hell could conversion therapy really be? Like, they just sit some guy down and they're like, okay, so you understand you have it wrong. The penis is supposed to go in this hole, not this one. Mm-hmm. Just, are we clear on that?
They just show a picture of like a square peg and a round hole. And which one works better?
Which one is attached to what person?
Right.
Now, tell us, write it down. Nope, you got it wrong again. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
That'll be another $100, sir. I mean, stupid fucking thing. But I'd just like to say a little bookend to all that. The kid who shit in the shower, that was Chris. So.
That's not one of those "that guy was me" stories. Don't worry.
No, it was not. It was not Chris.
I know how to protest. I know the perfect biological protest, and that wouldn't have been it.
I don't even remember that kid. To be honest, I think he disappeared. I'm serious. I think
he's no longer with us, or away from society.
I don't remember ever seeing him again at school, like
or at camp.
We were at a camp called Crystal Lake, so I don't know if
it called Crystal.
No, it was not.
I was like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? That would have been awesome.
Obviously, if it was Crystal Lake, that kid would have been taken first. If we would have found him, the shit would have been in the shower, and you would have found a head left behind,
right next to the shit.
Yeah.
That's how it. That's how it happened.
Yeah, the shit in the shower, the head in the shitter. So that's what you. Would have been.
I wished it was Crystal Lake. That would have been so cool. You had me for like a second.
And the counselor would have been like, double whammy. Not only got to clean up fucking kid, but I got to clean up his shit too.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the movie. Wow, we went off topic. So TJ and the boys, right? So basically he finds Desiree's sister bathing in that swamp, right? Trying to get clean. Desperately trying to get clean with that dirty shit water. I feel like she was going to walk out like Rambo and Rambo 2 and just be covered in leeches, you know?
Like exfoliating in leeches.
That's such nice skin, you know? So
the pores are nicely peeled and coagulated.
Two Balls is like running back and he's like, oh my God, I found her. And so everybody like sneaks up and they sneak up on her and this girl's just cooking food, right? And I guess the little brother's like sleeping inside and they all like kind of sneak up around her and basically they confront her, right? And they grab her, and they're like, well, where's Desiree? And then Ballless No Balls comes up, right?
Yeah.
And he points a shotgun at the brother and wakes him up. And they all, like, go outside. They all bring him outside, and basically they're like, hey, where's your sister? Where's your sister? We find out the little brother doesn't have a tongue.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird.
And I write, whoa.
How did that happen?
Yeah, how did that happen? That's a very specific injury. There's no, like, animal that's going to bite your tongue off. I mean, unless he was trying to French kiss a raccoon or something.
Or an alligator.
Yeah. I mean, how did that happen? He just played around with knives with his tongue out, and I mean, like, can you be born without a tongue? I don't think so.
He tried to go down on a pocket knife.
I don't know of any diseases that only affect the tongue, other than I don't know, like tongue cancer, which I don't think a 15-year-old's gonna get.
No, I mean,
who knows? Swamp rules, you know. I don't know.
Unless he's like smoking cigars like Rush Limbaugh every day, that couldn't have happened.
He was chewing in the womb, you know what I mean?
She's spitting and chewing.
Yeah, he was chewing in the womb and just spit was flying out of it. She's like, "Oh no, it's not what you think it is."
Like when the water breaks, it's just like this explosion of tar down her leg. Like, here it comes.
She sits down in a chair and just has a spittoon between the legs, and you just hear boop, boop every so often.
Yeah, the birthing process is like the La Brea tar pits down there.
She's just shoving skull up there. Desiree. So I was wondering, you also wonder that. How the fuck did he lose his tongue?
That was never...
That's a story we need to hear. Like,
do they allude to it in Gator Bait 2?
Yeah, it's called Gator Bait 2, Finding the Tongue. You know, they look around for his lost tongue.
It's a quest.
You think he just woke up one day, he's like, oh, it's gone.
Hey, swamp rules. There's somewhere there's a snake with a giant tongue hanging out of its mouth, swimming around.
He just woke up one day talking like Van Halen. All right.
We're cut off.
Oh boy.
We're cut off.
There goes that interview. He's the one without a tongue, right? I believe so.
I think so, yeah.
I believe Eddie Van Halen had his tongue cut off.
Yeah, it wasn't very fun at the after parties with the ladies, I guess.
So then we see Billy Boy and he's got a great excuse though, Chris. I don't have it. And they're like, oh, you son of a bitch. So, okay, then we see Billy Boy and No Ball, or Ball Brother. So Two Balls, right? Billy Boy and Two Balls. They're inside the shack now. They got the girl in there, the sister, and they're arguing over who gets to rape her first. But Two Balls wins because he found her first, and that's swamp rules. So you find a girl first, kind of like Bronx Warriors. If you find somebody first, they're yours. They're actually your property. So that's just the rules of the swamp. So you got to move away. And then Ballless is like watching the sister I don't know what exactly he's doing. So she's like kind of, well, like Two Balls and Billy Boy are outside arguing who's going to go in the shack and get her first.
Right.
And obviously he wins because he saw her first, Swamp Rules.
Yeah.
And then No Balls is inside the shack, like watching her, I guess, cook. Which I'm like, so what, she's still going to cook dinner at this point?
No, wait till she's done. Wait till...
Well, keep making that food. We are hungry, so we are going to sleep out here again.
Yeah.
We don't have homes to go to necessarily. So, like you said, it's like the Wild West. You just kind of sleep where you find yourself.
Basically, yeah.
Balls is like watching her cook, and then he starts eating I had a real problem with this. So he is eating what I imagine is either like hardened fat, because it's like a big tube of white stuff, or plastic, and I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised with either.
I think it's just wax. He doesn't know what it is.
He's fucking candle, this guy.
He thinks it's white chocolate.
And then, this is where I also had a problem. He drinks from a jug of what looks like swamp water, or maybe it's the house toilet. Because it's like real dark water, and he just kind of swigs it. I'm like, oh, no, I don't think that's for drinking, guy.
No.
It's like in a mayonnaise jar, and it's just like, dude, what the...
It's au jus sauce, clearly.
It's kitten Jew, you know what I mean? Like, and this is what I wrote in my notes, is like, it seems like every woman in this movie either wears a potato sack or a nightie. And I write, I wonder where Desiree got those shorts. So then we see Ballless. He takes a knife out and he's like, I'm actually not hungry anymore. I'm hungry for something else. And he starts threatening the sister. And so the sheriff and TJ, they're like, basically they kind of just walk away, and they're like, oh, well, I guess we're going to let them rape that girl.
I guess so.
And I'm like, you're the fucking sheriff, man. Like, you're all worried about people doing illegal stuff. This whole movie, he keeps going back to he's the man of the law, and he's like, swamp rules.
Well,
I mean, boys will be boys.
Well, I guess they do have, we do find out they are hanging something over his head that has been haunting him for 12 years. So maybe they have this leverage over him, like, if you don't say anything, we won't say anything about you to the judge.
I guess so, but you know what?
Yeah.
It would probably not be a good idea to piss off Desiree anymore. Just saying.
No.
So Billy Boy and the half brother, or Billy Boy and Two Balls, right? So Full Ball. They show up and they have this rape party. They're gonna have a rape party, right? Yeah. And then the sheriff, at the same time, the sheriff and TJ try to stop them, but TJ responds. He actually says, Chris, he goes, "Boys will be boys." That's what he says.
Yep.
The excuse we've used for Crown International movies for all these months, somebody actually says it in a movie like, hey, what can you do? Boys will be boys. Swamp rules. So the brother tries... Okay, so Desiree's brother tries to run off to, like, warn her, and then they, like, whip him, and then they're like, actually, you should run away. And they just let him go.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, fuck it.
Swamp rules, I guess. Again.
I'm like, couldn't they have used him as leverage? Like, kidnap this kid, and then been like to Desiree, like, give yourself up. We have your brother. They're like, yeah, fuck it. He has no tongue. He's no use.
Yeah, or we can't rape him. It's not titillating.
Yeah, we can't rape him. And so then we go back to that rape party, and I write, well, it was going to be a rape party until Ballless got upset. So Ballless can't rape, I guess, because he's singing soprano. And oh my God. And this is when this movie goes off the fucking deep end. Ballless takes a shotgun, Chris.
Oh, is this when he's going to shoot her? Right in the pussy?
Oh, yeah, he does. He goes, like Trump goes straight for the puss.
Yeah.
So does Ballless.
Yeah.
With his gun.
Yeah. Or so I say, is this where he shoots her in the vagina? He gives her a lead hysterectomy, if you will. He gives her a buckshot hysterectomy. Yeah, let's replace the pussy with buckshot hysterectomy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, you think, okay, so you will see the wound at one point, but he just kind of walks up and he's like, all right, rape party over, and he just shoots her right in the puss. Or as you say, a lead hysterectomy.
Yeah.
A buckshot hysterectomy.
Buckshot hysterectomy, yeah.
That's how they do it in Swamp Rules, you know what I mean? you go to the gynecologist, he's just got a shotgun at the end of a fucking...
He's just like, all right, do you want sawed off or... You have two options.
What's that? You don't want to have kids one day? All right, come on in.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you want, sawed off or regular? We got a special going on sawed off right now.
It'll bleed a lot more. It's for the twin births,
but it will definitely get the job done. TJ and the sheriff show up, and they're like, oh, fuck. We killed that girl. Why? And TJ and the sheriff kind of yell about it, but nobody really seems that upset about it. They're like, well, they just murdered somebody, but boys will be boys, you know. They got a little anxious. They're just playing doctor in there, you know. And so the brother, so Desiree's brother runs through the swamp and finds Desiree because she's not even that far.
No.
She's just like down the fucking, bayou, I guess. She's just a few feet away.
Yeah.
And they go back to the shack, and then we see the sheriff and Billy Boy, and so this is when we get the first kind of twist in this movie. And so Billy Boy goes up to his dad, who's the sheriff, and he's like, hey, look, I actually killed that kid in the beginning. It wasn't Desiree. And I wrote, what the fuck, man? You could have told him this earlier instead of having all this fucking shit happen and had to spend the night in a goddamn tree.
Right, but I love this because now it's like, well, now there's no turning back.
Yeah,
for
no,
both
you got
him and his
fucking
dad.
puss blood on your hands, man. Like, you've really fucked up at this point.
And he's dragged his dad into this now, so now they're both, and that's what I love about this. Now it's just a totally different tone.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
It's a nice twist to it. And so then TJ walks up, and the sheriff hides it. He decides not to tell him, and he goes, Billy Boy, he's upset, but I think the swamp's got the best of him.
Yeah, which I think is wise when you're surrounded by, two other, people with guns out in the middle of nowhere.
You've said that, by the way, TJ, that was his son that Billy Boy killed.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
Boy, we're in quite the pickle at this point. So then we go to night, right? And Desiree... Okay, so all the guys are just sleeping. So they didn't go home again. They've decided... No tents, by the way. That they're just going to...
All out in the open. No camouflage.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. So they're just going to sleep in the swamp for the night. For the second night. And they build this camp and everything. And Desiree kind of sneaks up on the camp. And she steals their food... Oh, no, this isn't where she steals their food. She just pours moonshine all over their boat and then sends it out in the water and throws a torch on it, and it explodes. It doesn't catch on fire. It explodes.
Yeah.
Which is great. All right, that's some strong shit.
Cajun, man. Yeah. Cajun.
That's some swamp shine right there. And I wrote, also, throwing a boat on water while it's on fire doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But instead they're like, no, bring it back in. I'm like, why don't you just go turn it over?
Yeah.
It's in water. What puts out, just saying, what puts out fire is water.
Or
maybe
dirt.
Just,
yeah.
Give it a little
nudge.
Give it a little nudge.
Yeah.
Although that swamp, maybe the swamp itself is flammable. I don't know. It's swamp rules. So
yeah. There's a breed of plankton
there's a lot
that
of
are flammable
methane in there or something. I don't know. And so then Desiree goes home and she sees her sister's dead on the bed. And we do see she was shot right in the puss. And you see the wound, and it's like they just spattered a bunch of fake blood on this poor girl's crotch region. And they're like, well, that's a wrap. Thank you. So she screams out loud, right, and runs away. And everybody hears. So then they run over and they light her shack on fire to, quote, leave no evidence. And I wrote, well, there will still be evidence, like a burned shack and a burned woman with a gunshot wound to the crotch. Yeah. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't think it's going to cover up everything.
Follow the smoke. But when you're the sheriff, sheriff rules.
Yeah. Swamp rules, sheriff rules.
Yeah.
You burn something, the swamp will eat it alive. Don't worry. It'll be gone in a day.
Yeah.
So we go to the next day, right? The boys track down Desiree, and they all get in this boat chase. And this is when at first I had a problem because I'm like, well, they're never going to catch her because she's one lady in a boat and there are 5 guys in an inflatable raft with a motor on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, and they're, there's no way they're going to catch up to her.
Unless, like, one of them was on each side, like, come on, boy, harder, faster, like trying to catch up.
But luckily they did, so they do the smart thing and tell people to get off.
Yeah.
And so TJ and one of his sons, I believe it's Two Balls. TJ and Two Balls go after her, and they get in a chase. And this is also because the chase goes on for a while. And I go, Desiree has very nicely trimmed eyebrows and plenty of makeup. And I go, I wonder how she gets this done. You think she goes into town, get her denim outfit and her potato sack, and uses the rest of that money to get her eyebrows done and get some makeup? I go, they seem to have no money, like absolutely no money for food or any sort of house or anything like this, right? So I'm assuming that the makeup and the eyebrow budget kind of takes over, and she's like, well, I'm getting the Gators, so I kind of, I got to look good while I'm doing it.
Yeah. This is, I guess it's for the Gators. She's doing it for the Gators.
Yeah.
She is the Gator Bait.
Then you could see this great shot of her shooting down a tree, and then it falls and it misses them, but then she jumps over a log with the boat.
Yeah, and does a quick little a quick little scream line.
And so this makes no sense because she just kind of rides her boat over this log, right?
Yeah.
And then TJ and Two Balls are just like, well, I guess she's gone. And it's like, you couldn't go around the branch?
Yeah.
Like, we're in a giant waterway. Like, there's a lot of room, but it's like in the Bronx Warriors where trash can't get around that little piece of wood. This is just like, well, down tree, I think we call it a day, son.
Yep, time to pack it in.
Let's go eat some of them canned beans, huh?
Maybe it won't be there tomorrow. We don't know. We can't plan for that, but just assume it will be.
And so then Desiree goes into the other dead end where all those other guys were.
Yeah.
And then she tries to shoot at them, but she has horrible aim, which we'll learn again and again in this movie. She has terrible aim. So she might be able to catch a snake out of the water with her bare hands, but she sure as shit can't shoot a man right in front of her with the shotgun.
No, she's always like shooting down the ground or...
And how many fucking bullets does this thing
Yeah,
have?
okay, yeah. I can't tell you how many times she reloads because I don't see her reload once.
No. She just keeps cocking it back, and like there's a new shell in there. Apparently this is like a 50 shell shotgun.
Yeah, it's a swamp gun.
And where would she keep the shells? I don't know. She barely has. I mean, she has like tattered pieces of cloth covering her genitals. Basically.
Well, there's
no room for a shell.
There is a scene where she squats down and goes, "Here!" They just kind of come tumbling out of her.
Oh my God, Chris. Yeah, you know what? She keeps them. She keeps them where her mother used to keep that skull. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I love this though, like, so she just drives away, they're all upset, and then she kind of just like flashes her butt at them, like she just sticks her butt in the air, and a banjo riff plays. It's like boing.
Mouth harp.
Okay, so then we go, it's night now, the boys are camping again. They haven't decided to go back yet. They're like, all right, let's give it one more night.
Yeah.
They're lighting a fire, and they're eating the rest of their food. The sheriff's like, well, we can't stay out here any longer. We don't have any more food. Also, my wife might be getting worried about where I am. And I don't understand. The day Billy Boy shot that kid, he got back into town without a fucking boat in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And these guys are like, well, you know, it got dark. Might as well sleep where we lie.
Do you think they packed... How many days do you think they packed to be out this long?
Obviously, a couple.
Yeah.
And I write, okay, so maybe they could have just wait by that salon, you know, in town where Desiree gets her eyebrows done.
Yeah.
I go, eventually she'll come out there, right?
Because if they know her routine so well, why are they...
I'm like, Chris, it's a really easy bust. You just look for the redhead girl in the potato sack.
Yeah.
I mean, you got her,
Yeah.
you know? She's going to come into town eventually, right?
I make a trap where it's a potato sack in the trap and like some short, denim shorts.
Yeah, maybe if you have another outfit lying out,
Yeah.
she's like, oh, swamp outfit.
And it's in my size.
But no, instead they just sit by a campfire in the middle of the swamp and eat fucking beans out of a can. Because they're like, you know, it's a little trip, a little vacation.
And there's too many passages of time for these things to happen. Like, it does get a little redundant in a sense.
Yeah.
But
yeah, this movie's actually very close to being done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you're right. It's kind of just monotonous at some point. It's like we're doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
They don't find her. She gets away. Time to camp, right?
Yeah. There's no like let's load up the arsenal. They should have made she should have done like a Home Alone thing where she kind of sets up like a fake shack to like
she
find
does
her
do
in.
one Home Alone trick.
She
later,
does.
But it
she
doesn't,
does.
You know,
it's
we'll
not to
find
that
out.
degree. It's more like a Vietnam trap.
A Vietnam trap. Yeah, that's where Desiree used to be. Well, she just got back from Nam. So they're at this campfire, and then TJ starts telling a story. So we get a little bit more of the story here, though, which is great. Is he basically says something about how the sheriff used Desiree as gator bait and then shot her father or something? So he killed Desiree's father, is what he said.
Yeah.
Which we'll find out in a little bit. Makes no fucking sense, actually. No. This is a giant plot hole, so it's almost impossible to understand TJ because he's using a very thick Cajun accent. But the sheriff gets all upset about it, right? And the sheriff is afraid somebody would say something about this, and that's why he wanted everybody to stay away from Desiree, because apparently she saw him kill a guy when she was a kid.
Yeah.
And so that's why he always is like, oh, I'm not going to arrest her for poaching, and just leave her alone. You know, she's the swamp lady.
Yeah, there's an understanding. She's like the cat lady of the swamp.
Yeah. But then the sheriff gets mad, and he kind of walks away, and he's like, oh, I'm still the law. And I write, what a fun trip, you know? This camping trip's not going as planned, I'd say.
No.
And then Two Balls just chimes in. This is great, though. At the end of this scene, it's a real powerful scene. And, the sheriff's all pissed, and he walks away, and everybody's like, oh, well, that's a real downer. And then Two Balls just kind of chimes in, and he goes, I've never wanted a woman so much in my whole life. And I write, thanks for the insight, buddy.
And scene.
And so then Desiree and her brother, right? It's
Yeah.
dawn. They sneak up at the boys' camp with a gun, and everybody's asleep. And then she sneaks up to them with a knife out and just steals all the rest of their food.
She could have easily ended their lives.
Well, she could have, because
Yeah.
later the guys are all awake and they're like, "Oh fuck, she stole our food and our water." And then one of them says like, "Well, she could have slit all our throats.
Yeah.
She kind of let us off easy. Like she's just telling us to leave." And the sheriff says once they catch her, like they can't kill her. He's not going to let them kill him. And I write, "But why? They fucking murdered her sister." I mean, you let that happen. Desiree has all this info on you. Why wouldn't you just let them kill her?
Turn a blind eye.
Yeah, it's like, Jesus, why all of a sudden you have a conscience now?
It cleans up itself if you would have let that happen.
Yeah, because now Desiree has two things on him.
Yeah.
She saw him kill a man when she was a kid, and also her sister got shot in the puss. I mean, Jesus. But she doesn't have any evidence because they burned it, you know? So she's just a pile of ash and a skeleton with buckshot stuck in it.
Right.
The coroner's just like, "Oh, this is one I don't see every day. This pelvic bone has buckshot all stuck in it. Sheriff, do you know anything about this?" She must have fell on it. I mean, you know her sister keeps it up there, but
Yeah, that's how. She sat down really hard. You know? It was one of those unfortunate things. It was a concrete, chair that she sat down on. It was at Disneyland, and
the coroner's like, "You know what?
Say no
I
more."
see this all the time. You wouldn't believe how many people come in here, how many women come in here dead with buckshot stuck up the pelvis. I always think it has something to do with the husband, but they say she's just sitting down real hard,
Yeah.
you know? We learn that Two Balls has left the camp, right? Because
Right.
TJ's like, "Oh, where'd my son go?" And No Balls is like, "Oh, he left to go find Desiree because he wants to marry her." And I'm like, uh-huh. And I write, "Well, I guess then he doesn't want to kill her either." And I write, "Because I don't think he'd want to marry a corpse." On second thought, I'm sure he would. So
yeah.
it'd be a shotgun marriage, per se. It wouldn't last too long, but, knowing this guy, he might move on in a day. So, that marble for a brain of his might just be like, move on. So TJ's mad, but seriously, I write, TJ's mad and all about this, but seriously, like, it is a step up from Two Balls trying to fuck his own sister, that he'd be interested in a woman that's not related to him.
Yeah.
Maybe. So then we find out No Balls has left the... Okay. So then we see Two Balls, right? He's out hunting Desiree, and she climbs a tree and she, like, waits for him. She's just standing in a tree, which, by the way, again, Claudia Jennings is like a ginger lady.
Yeah.
She's very pale-skinned. If she was standing in a tree, she would stand out so well. Like, you get the legs would be blinding. The whiteness would be blinding.
How could you not see this? You might as well throw a traffic cone up there.
Like you were saying, they didn't have any lights. They just use her legs as a reflector.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he'd just walk in and be like, "Oh, I'm blinded."
What's that goddamn... Oh, got her.
Oh, there you are, Desiree. And then basically she catches him, and her and her brother like corner him with a knife and a gun, and she just says, "The swamp will take care of you." And I'm scared to find out what that means. And then we go to later, right? So the boys, TJ, the boys walk up, and they find Two Balls' hat, and then they kind of get out, and they find him dead, right?
Yeah.
And so they find him, and he's like, his face is all bruised, and he has like a snake crawling all over him, and I guess he's dead. And I write, "Well, is that what means the swamp will handle him?" And I write, "So did the snake kick his ass, or like how did he get all those bruises?" Like, because he's like tied up to a tree, his face is all beaten, and a snake's going over him. And I'm like, but Desiree just apparently left him. So I don't know what they did to him.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know what they did to him. Those snakes, man, they'll get you.
Yeah, swamp snakes.
They don't bite, they punch. You know?
I think it'd be the old 1-2. Stealing tongues left and right.
And then Desiree and her brother are like watching from a distance, and they sneak away. And then everybody, they just go to find her. She opens fire on them, still has terrible aim. And then finally, after like 10 shots in this endless chamber of shotgun shells, either that or she's reaching into those shorts and pulling some more out. Trying not to sit down too hard. She finally shoots somebody, shoots Billy Boy in the back as he runs away. Then everybody kind of just runs out, right?
Yeah.
And so the sheriff asks Billy Boy, okay, no, this is great. So all the guys run away, and they're like all regrouped. And the sheriff's like, hey, where's Billy Boy? And No Balls is like, oh, yeah, he got shot. Just kind of like offhanded, like, oh, yeah, he's back there. And he's like, what the fuck? Why didn't you go help him? And he's like, yeah, swamp rules, He gets shot, you just leave him.
Yeah.
And the sheriff is like, well, let's go fucking back. And he goes to find him, and he, like, finds Billy Boy, and then TJ and No Balls walk over, right? And No Balls is like, all right, well, I got the gun. Let's just put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. All right, you guys are like 30 minutes from town and deciding whether or not to kill this guy? I'm like, it's not like you're stuck on Mount Everest. Go the fuck back home. Like, you got a boat. Take him to the fucking hospital. But instead, they're like, no.
They have to wait it out, yeah.
Well, at first, okay, because the sheriff's like, no, put your fucking gun away. We're not going to kill him. This is my son, right? We're going to get him help. And he goes, put him in the boat, please. And they're like, oh, fine, we'll put him in the boat. I was really looking forward to shooting somebody.
Well, they put him in the boat, then they light the boat on fire when the sheriff walks away.
It's even stupider than that. Really, it is. It's even stupider than fucking that.
Yeah.
They put him on the boat. I read at this point, this has turned out to be a very bad camping trip.
This is like
the Yelp review for this camping area would not be good,
This is, if I had kids, this is how our trips would probably go.
This is sort of like a Blair Witch type camping trip. Like, it's a real disaster. Like, maybe we should have went home that first day, We should have called it quits.
Could have just played, Slender Man. Would have been the same thing at home.
And so then we go, okay, I have such a big problem with this. So we're at nighttime now, right? And Desiree sneaks around their camp, Chris. Their camp!
Yeah.
So he says load them in the boat, and then they just go off to find a new camping spot. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Your son is shot in the fucking back, and you're just like, we'll wait till tomorrow. It's getting dark out, so, Are you okay, Billy Boy? You think you'll be able to be fine through the night, right? You're not bleeding too hard, right?
Just breathe slow. Don't exert yourself too much.
You got a lot of that buckshot in your back?
Yeah. Just pour a lot of that water on it. It'll cleanse the wound.
I mean, she pulls a fucking Dick Cheney on this guy, shoots him right in the back, and instead of going and finding a hospital, they're just like, put a little bit of that swamp water on it.
Yeah.
Heals all wounds,
Pull a flipper, pour some water on it.
So they have no food or water left, too. Why the fuck are they still here? Cut your fucking losses and move on. I read at this point, I would just say, fuck it. The swamp will sort this out, all right? I'm going home. Fuck it. But no, Desiree sneaks up in their boat and then pops it with the knife. And I write, well, now they're really fucked. And they're just going to let Billy Boy bleed out over the night, right?
Yeah.
And we go to the morning. Father of the Year, sheriff goes over to console Billy Boy. Instead of taking him home like a normal person, he's just like, Billy, are you still okay? We're going to find her. We're going to get back soon.
That's still the main theme of this. Like, personal well-being be damned.
He's like, do you still have enough blood? I can give you a little bit more. Are you okay? You sure?
I would have not have been surprised if they tried to do like a bloodletting on him.
Yeah, he's like, you want to suck on my finger? I'll give it a little cut.
No, they his blood's now been poisoned by the buckshot. They try to drain his blood out,
They're like, he's bleeding, but he needs to bleed more. I think I heard that on the radio.
Yeah.
It's swamp rules, And the cop says, the sheriff's like, all right, we will get you out. And I write, but it's clear that he won't.
Yeah.
Because he's just letting him die. He's like turned blue and he's like, his lips have lost all color. He's like, Dad, I'm so cold. And he's like, Billy Boy, it's all right. We're probably going to, maybe 2 days. Can you hold out maybe 3?
Like, how long are they going to like lug this guy around? Like, it wouldn't be great at the end. They're just lugging around like a skeleton over their backs.
At this point, if I was Billy Boy, I would be like, I tell No Balls to get over here and bring that gun. You guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. And then No Balls walks over. He's like, oh, hey, yeah, by the way, our boat's popped. And they're like, oh, fuck. And so they kind of like huddle up and they're like, so we're really fucked, right? And they're like, yeah, we're really fucked.
Yeah.
And the sheriff actually says, he goes, well, it's a long walk back. And I write, see?
There.
See? They can fucking walk back.
They've already, man. What's the, go get back up, go get more. Here come the boys.
Okay, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so long walk in your definition is what? A day? 10 minutes? I mean, what? I feel like if they made me to walk 10 feet one way, they'd be on a road, like a highway.
Yeah, that's like the Bear Grylls method of finding your way home.
I'm telling you, this is like the Blair Witch. They're just out in this fucking thing, and they're like, we keep walking in circles. So the sheriff tries to force TJ and No Balls to help him carry Billy Boy back to town. And then they finally turn, they're like, no, we're not going to do that. They're like, no. Sheriff, we're not going to do that. And then the sheriff uses this moment to confess something he shouldn't have confessed at this moment.
Oh, my God.
He's like, well, I should also tell you before you're not going to help me that Billy Boy actually murdered your son, TJ. So I'm really sorry about that. By the way, could you help me carry my son to town?
Oh, my God.
And so then TJ and the sheriff get in a big fight. So TJ's like, well, I'm going to kill you with my bare hands. Mm-hmm. And he does. He drowns the sheriff in the swamp with his bare hands.
And it's actually a pretty cool scene.
Yeah. They have this big fight, and they're rolling down a hill, and they get in the water, and he just takes his face with his hand and just shoves it down in the water.
Yeah.
And just
I really heard like his neck snap too. Like I think he's supposed to be like he snapped his neck underwater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why he stopped shaking like that. But this fight scene was again filmed with just one camera and edited. In
it was done pretty well.
Yeah,
it was pretty violent and everything.
Yeah,
it was great. And so then Billy Boy starts crying. He's like, "Hey, wait, where's my dad?" And then TJ and No Balls are like, "Well, see you later."
Yeah, that's
and
the end of that. That's the end of that. Yeah.
And Desiree's watched this whole thing, by the way, and she's like, "Man, and I thought I was fucked up." And so then No Boys and TJ agree that they still need to kill Desiree, right?
Yeah.
Why not? And then guess what? We see another gator.
There we go. I think there's like 2 in this whole movie.
Yeah, there's number 2.
Yeah.
Which I think maybe was still number 1.
If I were the director, I would have had a scene where, a shot of the gator and then we just, another shot of the body hanging there. I would have had 2 guys underneath and just like pull it down really quick.
Yeah.
Just like the gator. Like, would have been really funny.
So we go later, and TJ and No Balls, they're search for Desiree, right? Mm-hmm. And so basically, Desiree corners No Balls.
Right.
Like she pulls this trap, like you said, like a Vietnam era trap, where she has like a spike stick on a rope, and it's like tied up with the tripwire.
Yeah.
And No Balls walks up to her, but then he trips it because he sees it.
Yeah.
And then he tries to get her on the ground, and he's still like not going to kill her. He's like, well, I'm still going to try.
He wants to try to rape her, and
but
it's unsuccessful. Like, does she like bite his tongue or something?
She's biting him and stuff.
Yeah.
She's obviously she won before.
Right.
I mean, she got a prize the last time he tried to do this. She's like, didn't you learn your lesson the last time?
Yeah.
And so then he just kind of gets up and he's like, all right, well, I guess the rape's not going to work. I don't want to lose my other appendage down there.
It'll be easier when you're missing a head.
She's like, look, I let you off easy. I just cut the sack off. I left.
That was just a warning shot.
She's like, I left the rest of it, but I will take it if you keep trying.
Yeah.
And then the brother kind of sneaks up and shoots. Her brother sneaks up and shoots this guy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then they go and they confront TJ, who's just kind of wading through the swamp. Mm-hmm. And this is, Chris, where you get this twist at the end of it, which kind of doesn't make sense now that we've gone through it.
Yeah.
So they're gonna kill him, right?
Yeah.
But then they don't. He throws his weapons in the water, and he's like, well, go ahead and shoot me. I don't have anything to live for. This was the worst camping trip of my life,
right.
And my sons are all dead. And
no
at this
refunds.
point, it's gonna be real tough. All I got left is that girl, and let me tell you, she doesn't even really know how to hang laundry that well. So it's not gonna go well at the Bracken household. Yeah. Okay, I have to find a woman, wait a lot more years before I'd have some capable helpers around this swamp. So just go ahead, kill me now.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, we'll let you live, but if you can make it back or something.
Yeah.
And then the twist
he reveals himself to be her father, and she's basically like, oh, well, I don't have a father. He's dead to me. But to me, I don't know. It didn't work for me. To me, this wasn't, because when you just mentioned it, I didn't even recollect it because it was just so over my head. Like, oh, everything was such a shock before. Like, this just didn't register with me.
But it doesn't make sense because he told that story about how the sheriff killed her dad.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, either he was like a pretend dad or a stepdad or something like that. But he actually said he killed her dad, and the sheriff was all upset about it. But then he's like, no, I'm your dad.
Yeah. Because I was like, is he bluffing? Is this just to rep something in? It didn't. This is the one.
Do you think that's also why his other daughter was a redhead? I'm just saying.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But to me, this was just like a throwaway piece in the film. I didn't care for it.
But
at
then
that point.
who is the dad of the her two siblings?
I don't know.
Because if the other dad died when she was a little kid, they're obviously way younger than her.
Yeah.
Like, she's like in her mid-20s, and these kids are like at least 10 years younger than her.
At least.
Supposed to be. And then it just kind of ends with her and her brother just riding off into the sunset.
Literally into the sunset.
And we get the Desiree song again.
Yeah.
So obviously, you know, our recommendations are yes, fun movie.
Yeah, I'd say just that very last scene was one thing I just didn't care for.
Yeah, but overall, it's a good one.
Overall, great film.
So this is like the first movie we've ever done that's like a legit, fun, good movie for us. We're wondering, hopefully, that this came out to be a good episode. Let us know if you want us to kind of cover more of these movies that are on the better side of the Grindhouse exploitation era. We have made the promise that we will cover these movies. Either they're going to be regular episodes, or we'll kind of like relegate them to mini bin episodes where we kind of talk about a movie that we enjoyed and maybe not go through the whole thing. Let us know what you think of this one. We'd be very interested.
Oh, I hear
What's
that.
sitting in front of you, Chris?
The straight arrow is sitting in front of me, and it's being pressed across the table with Mike's hand on it, and the dome window is facing me. I see 2 little handprints inside.
Oh, I see some water coming out the back. Oh, the waterbed popped.
Yeah.
Chris, what am I talking about?
If this is the first time you're listening to this program, we always go back to the very first movie we ever covered, 1977's The Van, which you can listen to in episode 47, about a ginger little shit who makes money working at a car wash and is somehow able to pay for a giant yellow garish rape van, which he uses to take women into and have his way by any means necessary, and schemes and concocts mischief with his boss and co-worker Andy as the straight arrow is now flying through the air in front of me. Have we... Yeah.
Chris, you know what? I realized something the other day.
Yeah.
Actually, today.
Passage of time.
We were missing a line in the last time we covered The Van.
Really?
It's a very famous line in The Van, Chris, which maybe is on one of the other copies of the movie I have. Is the version we watched did not have Bobby saying, "Every woman loves the sound of a zipper coming down."
Oh my God, that's right!
They cut it out of the version we heard.
Oh yeah, because they didn't have that on the Amazon version.
Did not have that on the Amazon version.
No, and the very end, the credits, you don't hear him say the dialogue of she says, "I'm bigger than Dugan." Bobby, that's not in it.
They cut out the fucking craziest line in that whole movie. Every woman loves the sound of a zipper coming down. I mean, holy fuck, that's the most terrifying line heard in history. Like, a woman, that's the last sound a woman hears before the lights go out and the brain stops working. It's Bobby standing over her saying that over and over again. I like your hair, and every woman loves the sound of a zipper coming down.
Yeah. And a woman around who doesn't like the sound of a zipper coming down.
It was cut out of the version we just watched and the version Randall watched.
Oh, Jesus. Well, apologies to everybody.
Me, right? Yeah. Anyways,
it's on the DVD, obviously. But
so, Chris, how would Bobby and DeVito fit in a Gator Bait?
Oh my God! Well, Bobby's a redhead. I am thinking Bobby is the father of Desiree.
Bobby, you are the father.
Yeah.
That'd make a great boring.
Because we don't have a timeline of a year. It's a very timeless film, which I like about this. But there's no real measure.
Yeah, that's what a lot of the reviews for Gator Bait said. A timeless film.
A timeless classic.
Yeah, that's not the word I'd use, but okay.
So I'm thinking, some time has passed. Bobby has been able to sow his seeds. And, Bobby's just the father. That's it.
Well, Chris, I have a couple theories. One, you remember how we thought Bobby had a sister?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe she, and I said that she wasn't in the van because maybe she decided to run away like a smart girl. And she ran down to Louisiana and was like, I got to get as far from my brother as possible, so I'm going to just start a new family in this swamp.
Yeah.
Or I see Bobby and DeVito, and one day they're working at the car wash, and DeVito comes running up and he goes, Bobby, oh my God, Bobby, I got to tell you about this girl I found. Bobby, I found the girl for you. You know how you have that red poof, and you've been looking for a girl that's like you, who would love the straight arrow? Bobby, my friend was in Louisiana the other day. He went on a camping trip where everybody says it's real fun to go camp out in the swamp. You just stay there for a few days, you eat beans. Everybody loves it, You got to watch out for gators and wild women. Bobby, there's a girl running around that swamp who's got your name on her. And I could just see the straight arrow kind of drifting down that swamp,
Yeah,
you know?
on a raft. It's on a skiff.
Yeah, like a Tom Sawyer raft.
Mm-hmm.
And Bobby and DeVito are just paddling down looking for Desiree. And they're like, do you really think the van will catch your eye, Bobby? DeVito? And he's like, I do, Bobby. I do.
I would have liked it. It's instead of they bring in the van, they paint a raft to look like the straight arrow.
Could you imagine? Yeah, they paint a raft. And there's still a waterbed, obviously.
Oh yeah, there's a dome window for some reason.
I would just love to see one interaction between Bobby and Desiree. Like, I could not imagine that
Mike,
going well.
I can tell you now, it ends with the sound of a shotgun cocking.
Like, one of the times where Desiree goes into town, Bobby
Yeah.
runs into her, you know? Like, when she's on
Ooh.
one of her manicure trips.
Yeah.
And he just sees this girl walking around with a potato sack on. And he's like, ooh, baby. You know? He's all excited. He's like that. Like a Tex Avery cartoon, and his eyes just bug out of his head. And he goes, "Wooga."
I got a sack for that.
Could you imagine him going up and being like, "Hey, you like Vans?"
Oh,
and she being like, "What you say?" How about we go in the back and share a joint? I think that waterbed would be pop for sure.
From Buckshot, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, my sister got shot down here. I know it's effective.
Yeah.
Desiree shoots him right in the dick. And DeVito just shows up. He's like, he was in a convenience store. He just shows up and he's like, but oh,
He just drops the jug of wine and backs away slowly.
good day, ma'am. I didn't see anything.
Yeah. I don't know that man. See ya, Bobby. You're on your own.
And it's just DeVito running off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And just goes, Desiree. I could not imagine him ever meeting her. It would not go well.
No, it's going to end in an execution.
Oh, well, thanks again for joining us on another episode of The Grindbin. If you want to get in touch with us, grindbin@gmail.com, grindhousefilm.com. We're on Facebook. We're also on Twitter at grindpod, Instagram. Chris is playing with the straight arrow.
By straight arrow, I mean my penis.
That is what he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to listen to the mini bins. The mini bins are the episodes we release on Sunday nights. They're about a half hour long. They're really they're coming into their own at this point.
Yeah.
But we really encourage you to listen to those episodes. It's slow going so far, but we definitely we're getting good feedback for it, but nowhere near as popular as the main episodes. But really, you should be listening to those.
Yeah, it's really meant to be a companion episode to what we cover. So that's the appetizer, and the grind bin is the main course, if you will.
Yeah, and we got great things on there like sick reviews. We're going to bring back Grindbin Dating, which is like characters, Grindbin All-Stars, trying their hand at dating apps, which Chris runs.
Yeah.
Which, those encounters are always
yeah.
interesting.
And they can only use, when they interact with people through messaging, they can only use lines from the movie. By them, I mean me, catfishing these people.
Man, that's going to be tough for Trash from Bronx Warriors. He doesn't say much except for, like, I'm going to pull something out of your ass, which might be...
Oh, yeah.
You might get some interesting responses for that one, Chris.
Yeah, well, here's hoping.
Also, subscribe to the show on iTunes or Google Play. That would be nice.
That'd be great. Bobby, fuck that gator.
Get your rainbow skipping by. Kiss the sun, embrace the sky. There's rain. Catch your rainbow skipping by. Kiss the sun, embrace the sky. There's rain.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team.
But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky ain't got no wheel coach.
Hello, pizza man.